So guys, today Bungie dropped their Act 1 Revenant livestream where they talked a lot about what's coming in Act 1 for Revenant, but also talked a little bit about Codename Frontiers, and inside of that they dropped a lot of information about the next generation of armor, which they have an entire article here, which I'm about to break down here for you. Obviously, if you want to watch that dev stream, I'll have a breakdown of it going live tomorrow, but you can also just find a link to it in the description of this video. Highly would recommend you going and watching that because there's a lot of juicy information in that. But without any further ado, hope you're going to enjoy this video, and if you do, if you could leave a like and subscribe, I'd very much appreciate it. But now let's jump into the next generation of armor coming with Codename Frontiers. So the TLDR is that armor will be more active and interesting part of build crafting, stats will be reworked to be more impactful, less confusing and less constraining, and set bonuses will be introduced to give individual armor sets more unique identities and build crafting elements. So let's talk reworked stats. Stats on armor will be changing in Codename Frontiers in order to make them more player friendly. First major change is the mechanics of the stats themselves. Stats will no longer be tiered every 10 points. Every stat will now provide a benefit. This change is intended to reduce the lock-in effect that happens when fine-tuning combination of stat values, making it impossible to switch out any single armor piece. And stat effects will now be capped at 200, with the range from 101 to 200 providing an additional powerful effect building on the base effect. This change is intended to support deeper investment in a smaller number of stats and spikier stat distributions on armor with fewer secondary dump stats. In addition to the above changes, the distribution of stats on armor will also be changing. Legendary armor will have a stat archetype which determines the primary and secondary stat type, with the third stat being a free roll. The value of these stats should overall be spikier, leading to fewer points in dump stats. Class item slot like Hunter Cloaks, Warlock Bonds, and Titan Marks will also have full stat distributions on par with other slots. We get a little in-work dev image here, giving us a basic look of what armor is going to potentially look like inside of Project Frontiers. So you can obviously see you've got the set bonuses down here, which they talk about more later on. You can see that the mod system is still going to be a thing, although it does show like the D1, D2 year 1 style of how armor perks worked. Then you've also got just strength, intellect, and discipline being the main stats here on armor pieces themselves. And you've also got a breakdown here of the primary and secondary stats, which is all very cool. Obviously, this is just work in progress, so don't take any of this as like fully confirmed stuff. But now let's talk about stats in general. So some stats will be changing with 3 goals in mind: improved specific weak stats that offer little value, reduce or eliminate mandatory must-have stats, and overall improve understandability of stats and their effects. So going over some changes here to stats, discipline from 1 to 100 provides increased grenade cooldown reduction, and stats from 101 to 200 now provide an increased chance to gain a bonus grenade charge when your grenade becomes available, and the stat is going to be renamed to grenade to improve readability. Same thing here for strength, where from 1 to 100 it provides increased melee cooldown reduction. From 101 to 200 provides an increased chance to gain a bonus melee charge when your powered melee becomes available, and then the stat name is being changed to melee for improved readability. And then a brand new stat here coming for special ammo, so from stat 1 to 100, increased rate at which special ammo bricks drop from final blows, and then from 101 to 200 provides an increased chance that a double-sized brick will drop. This is very interesting, so now you're going to have actual stats that will focus more on gunplay rather than natural abilities, which is really, really cool. Then they talk about set bonuses, which had me pogging out of my mind when they actually talked about it. So set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 or 4 pieces of armor from the same set. This allows you to either commit to 2 bonuses from the same set or find combinations that fit your unique needs. We're keeping both approaches in mind as they take shape and are excited to see what each Guardian chooses to do with these new tools. Note that there is no bonus at 5 pieces because most builds are expected to include a piece of exotic armor. As you'll see, perks will consist of either existing mods or will be newly designed. We're including a few examples below that represent the general direction we'd look to go. So you have Text Mechanica, Non-Stop Aggression, Demolitions Expert, and Vanguard Operative, and then you have the 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses. So For Tex Mechanica, while shooting from the hip, you have increased movement speed and weapon handling. An effect increases when you score hits for the 2-piece. And then the 4-piece, Tex Mechanica weapons have increased range and accuracy when hip firing. For non-stop aggression, your 2-piece, final blows with freshly reloaded weapons heal you, and then damaging a target with a shotgun or fusion increases the damage it takes from those weapons for a short time there for the 4-piece. Demolitions Expert for the 2-piece, direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase their reload speed, and the 4-piece, repeated direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase grenade ability damage. And then finally, Vanguard Operative's 2-piece, activating your grenade gives you and nearby allies damage resistance against combatants, and then for the 4-piece, defeating champions with a finisher generates special ammo for you and your fire team. Now, it's probably going to be more set bonuses than just these 4, but going off of these 4, I'm very interested and wondering how we'll be able to get our hands on these set bonus pieces of armor, maybe from specific activities, raids, dungeons, potentially also have their own set bonuses as well, which just has me very, very excited for armor, which has not happened in a while. Next up, we have an FAQ here. What happens to my old armor? Old legendary armor will be changed as little as possible because the change to stat mechanics and types are global changes. Old armor pieces will have their stat types, but not their values changed around when possible. These changes will be to the most similar stat, but with some stats fundamentally reworked. This won't always be possible. What about exotic armor? Updating the exotic armor pursuit in our roadmap won't be part of the initial update that is focused on legendary armor, so to make sure that exotics and their build defining perks remain a compelling option, we're working out a design that will allow players to update their armor to bring the stat bonuses in line with the changes to legendary armor. And then exotic class items, they're looking at introducing a way that they won't be adding stats to those exotic class items because they don't want to add another tier of randomness to them, so they're going to add a way for you to update those exotic armor pieces by changing the stats and actually adding the stats that you want onto those class items. And then for your vault, they're also looking at ways to increase vault stuff for Codename Behemoth, but I'll have more information on that when Codename Behemoth is closer to launching. And yeah, that's basically it for this article. Very interesting stuff there. Very much looking forward to these new armor pieces. The set bonuses have me very interested. They also did talk about weapons as well within the live stream, but they didn't really give too much information on that front. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe. That's it from me here today. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.